And I, okay. Oh, I guess I should say who we are in case it's posted somewhere. But I'm Edna Kelly, and I'm going to be talking with Sue Christensen about Friends of La Leche League, formerly called the Alumni Association. And Sue was one of our early members, would you call yourself one of the founders, Sue?
Well, maybe in the second wave of founding, there
Okay.
was there was the early getting started, and then there was the taking off, and I was probably part of the taking off group.
Right. We finally found our actual date that we began, which was 35 years ago.
Well, I've been racking my brain trying to remember when it was that I actually started, and I'm not home, so I can't like dig around in any of what files I might have if I could remember where they were. Um, but I do remember it was at a conference, and Betty Wagner, her Hispanic cow, had wanted to get this off the ground and restarted or regenerated. And so she put out a call for people who might be interested. And I think she might have even said one of the things that they wanted was somebody to write a newsletter. And I love newsletters. I just love them. I always felt like they were this puzzle to be solved on how it gets laid out and how it looks and how you put articles together and how you make them fit and how you make them diverse and bring in balance and different viewpoints. And so I went up to her and said I would love to do that. And so that's how I got started.
Wow. Well, the newsletter was that was the time when we communicated through the postal service, and we didn't have all of the social media for us. So
He had, and I think it was, I think even, I have this feeling that in early days I was still, I can't remember just how much the computer was useful in laying out a newsletter and how much I had to paste up. I think when I came up with the Continuum, I bought the letters that you press on. I found the font I wanted, and I actually had to buy the Leche set letters and um, and rub them on to get that look that I wanted to have. So that was primitive compared to where we are today.
it's funny because back then we thought we were so lucky to be able to find those letters, that they were
Yeah,
available. We thought that was such a
yeah,
great advance.
yeah, yeah.
I know. So you were the first editor of Continuum? I couldn't
Well,
really
there
remember.
was there was there was alumni news,
Uh-huh.
and I think when I started, I think I might have changed it to Continuum right away. Couldn't quite remember, but I think so. So yes, I was definitely the first Continuum editor,
Uh-huh. How
and
did
then
that
went on.
name? How did that name come about?
I had a copy of the Continuum concept
Uh-huh.
and was thinking of just what the Alumni Association was and what we wanted it to be, and this the idea of this being a continuum is really seemed to be the perfect word for it. Plus, it had the tie-in to this book that we were reading at the time,
Right.
and so that's how it got started.
I remember that book so well. Continuum Concept was a really was it was one of those books that stayed with you because it had some really profound ideas. It was a
Yeah,
great book. It
yeah,
really was.
yeah.
So, well, what do you have how did you decide on topics and all for Continuum? And do you have any recommendations for now, or do you see any changes? How do you see it having changed over the years? That's the question I really want to ask.
Um, I, there are, I mean, clearly the changes of accessibility and the ease. I mean, the mailings were um, cumbersome, and the postage was costly, and the printing. So all of that, all of those peripheral things are just not an issue anymore.
Right.
Um, but I think the the whole concept of Continuum and the content has a familiar feel to it. There's just a lovely balance because it's information, it's helpful, it's articles from different alums and friends, kind of what people are doing now, how they've moved on, but yet held on to La Leche and La
Yeah.
Leche concepts,
Yeah.
and brought those, just kind of put those out into the world in so many different ways. And that comes through in Continuum. And the, I mean, there's still articles on good books to read, and that was something that we had long ago too. There's information on breastfeeding, but there and parenting and grandparenting, but there's also life stuff, and those are those seem like they've held strong through the
Oh,
years,
I,
those topics.
I agree. I think that's really a great description. The focus has remained the same. It's a continuum. You're
Yeah.
so right. That is a really good way to say. Uh, I think what we have now with the online, we're able to do so much more with photos and color and graphics and different things. And so it's been, I think it's really improved and changed. It's hard sometimes because many of us love to see something in print in front of us. So, but it's we all read things online as well.
Yeah, sorry about that. The trash truck is going through, and he'll be passed soon.
Speaking of life going on, yes, very important. Let's switch the topic for just a little bit. What about, I know you've been on several trips. Do you have any particular memories or why
Well,
did
I have to
why did
say
you?
the hikes down the Grand Canyon were, I mean, that just is the top of my list as far as wonderful memories.
Yeah,
Just because they were such really wonderful life experiences, and something that I didn't ever do. I was thinking about that this morning, and remembering this letter that we got to prepare for our hike, and and we were supposed to get socks with wicking properties, and pemmican and moleskin. And Pam Oselk and I, and Pam lived near me, and we would get together and try to walk. And but we just laughed because we had no idea what socks with wicking properties even meant, or where to go to find them. And so it was a good challenge for me to do that hike, but it was beautiful. It was, being with the Havasupai people was wonderful. Being with League people from all over, in a real relaxed, slow paced setting, with really just walking and being and existing, and at the bottom of the canyon, these beautiful, beautiful pools, and aqua blue water,
yeah.
and magnificent waterfalls,
Oh,
was was really, that was tremendous. But then I was remembering other other um, adventures that we went on to it. Savannah was an early trip that was just uh, was great. I'd never been to Savannah, so it was wonderful to explore. We had um, just it was a well planned, well thought out trip. Lots of diverse kinds of things to see and do. And St. Augustine was another one that I was remembering. That was, and I think Edna, you were at that one.
Yes.
I think we shared a ride back to the airport.
Right, I believe so, yes. Yeah, that was special. I also was on the Grand Canyon hike, and it was a very empowering event that I could do that. That it was a very arduous. It was doable, but it was arduous,
Yeah,
and I felt very strong afterwards because I thought, "Wow, I
yeah,
really, I
yeah.
really,
Well, I walked the Camino in Spain a couple of years ago, which was 500 miles,
uh-huh,
and but I think that that canyon hike of 8 miles gave me. I mean, said you can do this. You can walk for a long period of time and be just fine.
I agree. It really did. It was very empowering, very much so. Um, let's see. Well, I love all the trips, mainly I suppose because the people you see. They're always fun. They're very interesting, and we always manage to do something fun. Pam Bridgman, who organized the Grand Canyon trips, is still planning or hoping to organize a trip to Tucson.
Oh, that's great.
So we hope, of course, with COVID, we're still being careful, but we hope
Yeah,
with our next trip that will be the destination. Pam does a wonderful job. She
she
did or do a beautiful job, and
she's
yes,
probably the one that sent the letter about the wicking properties in the
yes, I
stocks.
think so. That's really a good story. Let's see. What about being a member of the Friends or alumni? I know you have some good friends who were members. Pam was one, of course.
Pam and Cindy. Cindy and I still are close. I mean, she was just up for a few days before I came to Minnesota, and she's coming back next week when I go, or the week after, sometime soon after I get back. Um, Paulina has a condo near where I live, Paulina DeSmith, and because her daughter teaches at Notre Dame. And so she has a yearly gathering of Chicago area, the
Uh,
Leche people. And so we've got that luncheon coming up
yeah.
when I get back into town. And so Cindy will be up for that.
Cindy Smith, right?
Cindy Smith,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, um, the La Leche friends. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal for how long these friendships have lasted with people who are not necessarily, they're not living next door and
Right.
or even in the same state. Although, well, Cindy is, but has been in Texas
Mhm.
near you
Right. Yes,
a
she
lot.
has. Mhm.
Yeah.
So, well, that is the beauty of being able to stay in touch and part of the continuum, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, before we close, do you have any other special memories or special?
Well, I've been thinking about what is it about La Leche League that makes it so special, and it it's that it's that the roots that we have, that we've shared, we've kind of intertwined our roots, and we grow in different ways, but we have this um, common bond that makes it so easy to reconnect.
Mhm.
um, there's a there's a certain, I think it's a sense of trust
Yes.
that we know the kind of choices we've made, and the parenting goals, and the um, and the kind of mothering that we purposefully did,
Mhm.
um, it is a given.
Yes,
And there's a lot of trust there, that even I mean, what I love about League is how different we can all be, but yet be so connected
yes,
by that common bond.
I agree. Common bond. Oh, great. It's been so wonderful to talk to you. I just love connecting, and hope we'll get to see each other on some.
Well, I will look for the information on the trip whenever it gets to happen. I love that we are able to get back out and
Yes.
move around,
Oh, yes.
do some traveling, and see people in person.
I know.
It's boy, what a difference it makes.
It is. It really, it lifts your spirits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really does. And thanks